when we talk about the number of options that you will be writing, then at least write 3 options and maximum 5 options, because examiners, if you are writing just 2 options, then it does not show your depth of understanding. It does not show that you have the capability of solving the problems, because an issue does not only have 2 options. This is for say, because 2 options will either have yes or no like thing, binary, 0 or 1. So if you are saying that yes I will do it, no I will refuse to do it, so it does not show your capability of solving this issue, right? So at least write 3 and maximum 5. So this is how you should be doing this option and course of action part, right? So moving ahead, so how to write an option? Right. So option part, we all know that when we start this A, B, C and D, this is how we write the options. Then the question is evaluate the options. So when evaluation part is being asked, then you are supposed to write as per the instructions given in the question paper. If the instruction is regarding merits and demerits, if it is written in the paper, then what are the merits and demerits of the options that you are mentioning? Then write here merits and demerits. Likewise, and then your first option, your second, your third, and likewise. So if it is written pros and cons, then write accordingly. Then here it will be pros and then here it will become cons. Don't write then merit demerit. It shows the mechanical nature of yours, that you have a preconceived mind and you are not understanding, you are not looking into the instructions, whatever the words have been mentioned in the question, and you are just writing what you have been prepared with, what you have prepared yourself with. Don't try to be mechanical, just read those things, right? So once you have written this merit and demerit or cons or pros and cons heading, don't just write every time merit and demerit. There are a lot of candidates who do this. Every time they are just evaluating an option, they are writing merit, demerit, then again merit, demerit. It is not required to do so. The examiner knows that since you are mentioning this A, B, C, D in a sequence manner, then you are evaluating those options only that you have mentioned above, right? It's not that you are writing A here and then you are evaluating D. It shows this logic. So don't write this merit demerit all the time. Just give a heading simple, give this distinction line, and then just write A, B, C, D, and then your pros and cons. And remember this thing, whatever has been mentioned, just write those words only. Okay. Then you have this best option. And one thing I would like to say is that here, don't write that I will do this, I will do that, I will. It's very much understood that you are the person who are going to do this. Then it is not required to write I will every time. It shows that you are something, I mean, it doesn't look good, right? So don't write I will, just simply write as a administrator this steps has to be done, this will be done, right? Don't write I will repeated times. Then coming to this third part, the best option. Here also don't write that I will choose this option because. No, simply whatever the option is, this is, or say that in the above situation option 3 is the best option to be chosen, right? Write this option and later on just give a justification of it. Well, in the question itself, sometimes justification is being mentioned. Even if it is not mentioned, you must give justification to it as to why you have chosen this course of action, because you must have a logic behind choosing this option. So do give a justification, and in justification also just try to have two things in mind, that there must be an immediate reason to it, that why this was chosen, that it might fulfill some immediate situations or immediate demands, and at the same time long-term perspective is also fulfilled, that in the long run choosing this option is the best course, because in the long run it is going to solve the problem also, right? So this is how you must be writing the justification part, right? So breaking it into immediate and this long-term perspective. Okay, so this is how you should be writing an option part. First write down the options, then evaluate. In evaluation just do this thing, whatever I have told. Then best option, write the best option. Don't write I will be choosing this. Okay, then give the justification for it, and then a conclusion to it, ending this. So conclusion part may also come, may not also come. This depends upon what kind of justification you are giving. Sometimes it happens that the justification itself includes this conclusion part, so you don't have to write one more time whatever you have written in the justification, right? But sometimes a conclusion is being demanded. That depends upon what you are writing. Okay, so this is all about option part. Then talking about this course of action. What is a way to approach this course of action? Well, the first thing just remember is that here you will have to keep this in mind. A logical sequence is required, a gradual movement from down to the upward side. So the first thing you should do is knowing and understanding. Well, knowing and understanding is the first step that you should write in a course of action, because it shows that you have a very sensible and very calm mind. You are first going into the details of this course, of this case, and then you are framing your approach, that what should be done, right? So if this is further to be bifurcated, then knowing understanding comprises data and facts analysis, stakeholders involved in it, duration of the case, that since how long the issue has been there. So these are the things that primarily comprises this knowing and understanding part. So after going through these things, you will be framing your course of action, right? So then comes the action stage. Then comes the action stage. Follow this pattern. There must be a coherence. It should not be random, and it should have gradual progression, right? Then comes this third, again here, justification, and then comes a conclusion. So this is how you will be approaching this course of action thing. First, knowing and understanding. Knowing and understanding comprises analysis of data and facts, stakeholders involved, duration or since how long the issues has been there. Then after analyzing all these things, then you will be going through this action stage, right? Then after writing all the actions or the course of action, you will be giving justification for your course of action, and then this conclusion part finally, just as we did in the options. Then we have talked so far about the options, different types of options, and then how we should be writing or approaching those options. Now I will be now how to begin a case study. The first thing is the introduction. Well, it is very important to introduce the case study. Whenever you are writing a case study, an introduction is required. Well, there are certain ways by which you can introduce. For example, you can start with some quotes by philosophers, leaders, right? You can do this. Next, you can give this stakeholder approach. Or likewise, it could be a stakeholder approach where you will be mentioning all the stakeholders. Then you can give dimensions. Dimensions of the case can be mentioned, like facts or whatever issues have been mentioned, different facets of that whole issue. That can be, we will come to this later, what are the dimensions. Then we can start with values involved, what we can call ethical mapping. Basically, the values on which you will be judging the whole case study, those values which are involved in the whole case study, you can list all those values, okay, based on which you will be judging the case. So this is what ethical mapping is all about, right? Or you can give directly, talk directly give the context. Directly you can start with the context, whatever has been mentioned in the case, you can start with that, those facts and figures, okay. So this is context based. Or one thing I would like to tell is that here is that sometimes, not sometimes, many times it has been observed that case study has been asked in relation to something that has happened recently, something, a current event has been there that has various aspects attached to it. So it can be also asked as a case. For example, this drug issue is there in Punjab. So many a times it has surfaced in the news that drug menace is there. There is a lot of rise in drug cases in Punjab. So whenever there is a case like case study related to drugs, you can directly mention those facts that in Punjab, state of Punjab also there is so and so rise in drugs issue, and this above case is also a reflection of that, where this has happened in this district, and so there has been a rise in the drugs. So you can also use those reference also which have been in the news. Like a movie was also made, Udta Punjab, where everything was depicted that how drugs is a very big issue. So you can also take a reference of these things, that a movie was also made on this. So likewise, you can give your introduction either through quoting a philosopher or a leader, following the stakeholder approach, giving the dimensions of the case, the values that have been involved through ethical mapping, or directly writing the context of the case, or you can even take a reference from the current event. Okay, so these are various ways of introducing your case study. Well, one thing I would like to say is that don't write everything in the beginning. Preserve something for the conclusion also. Don't begin everything in your intro so that you don't have anything to write in the conclusion, or there may be an repetition of thoughts in the introduction and conclusion also. So preserve something for the end part. So this is how you will be introducing the case studies. So till now we have understood the trends, how the questions have been asked since the introduction of ethics paper, right? We have broken down the trends into options and course of action. I have told you how to approach an option and how to approach a course of action. The length of the case study that I have mentioned, how it is important, what is the crux, how in a larger case study things are given in front of you, you just have to identify them and just write it in your paper. And in shorter case studies, though you have larger amount of time, you have to think a lot, so prepare yourself accordingly. Then how everything bit by bit pieces, I have shown you that options and course of action, how it is different, how to approach them. Gradually you should be progressing in course of action, and it does not require so in case of options. Then justification part, how justification is to be given. You must keep in mind that justification should be comprising of both immediate and long-term perspective attached to it. Then I have just told you how to begin, or introduction part is to be there. So this is all I have to say about the beginning of this case study, and from here on we will be talking about or discussing all the cases or all the case studies that have come so far. Thank you.